Welcome to New York's number 2 sports show. The Rangers' 10-game point streak comes to an end. They lose to the Colorado Avalanche by a score of 5-4 in regulation, and they allow a goal with 15 seconds left, scored by Artturi Lehkonen. So Rangers were 7-0-3 in the last 10 games. We're very, very close to extending that streak. They were down 2-0. They were down 4-2. They come back. They score a goal with about 5 minutes left, and after the Ranger power play ends, Cale Makar comes out of the box. He is able to intercept a pass from Will Borgen to Artemi Panarin, leads to a 3-on-1, which was essentially a 2-on-1. And Makar makes a pass to Lehkonen, who scores past Shesterkin with 15 seconds to go. Total heartbreaker, no way around it. And let's start there with that goal. A bad play by Will Borgen, but blame goes around to everyone. All 5 players on the ice. I don't know that Igor Shesterkin was banging his stick, so I don't want to go there. He should have been if he wasn't. But you got to be aware of this. It's bad situational awareness in that situation. And it's a play where a couple of players change. Zibanejad and Fox leave the ice. Miller and Borgen go on the ice, and you still have Panarin, and we're going to discuss a lot about Panarin. Very disappointed with him. Panarin, Trocheck, and Kreider. And Keandre Miller has the puck. He's going towards the right corner. And a little bit of blame goes to him. Now, I'm not going to, not a crazy amount, but because he sees an open Borgen at the right point, and he goes back to the point. Then Panarin is ready and cocked to basically take a one-time slap shot. Panarin, first off, you got to be aware of the fact that the penalty is going to be over too. That, I understand why, but it's you're just not thinking team first there. And Borgen makes an egregious turnover. And I saw that Panarin was, when Miller had the puck, Panarin's pointing to Borgen for Miller to pass to Borgen. So there's a little bit too much deferring with Panarin. And I get it. Panarin is, he's the top paid player on the team. I was trying to think in terms of him versus Igor. I believe Panarin's still more highly paid on a average annual value basis. But so I understand that, but it's awful. Totally awful. You cannot have that happen. And that is twice in this game that Artemi Panarin stayed on much longer than he should have. The fourth goal, that was all on Panarin, where you could tell he was huffing and puffing, basically gassed, and just kind of flails the puck, fans on it, and it ends up going right to Colorado, and a quick pass was a goal by Parsonen that made it 4-2. So at that, I was already frustrated with Panarin at that point. Even before that, I didn't like the way he was playing, but then that was just absurd. And again, it's selfish, honestly. Get off the ice. And if you're going to stay on the ice, then you may as well hustle, because there was nothing there. Once the puck got turned over in that winning goal, he tried to half hook Lehkonen. Actually hook him. If you're going to do it, actually take him down, to prevent what was a goal. So, and I know that Panarin had the game tying goal, but and even that honestly was a little bit fortunate. But yeah, just a brutal game by Artemi Panarin. So he, for me, is kind of the main person, but there's other people as well. You just cannot have that. When you're in this type of playoff race, you need to tighten up. And it'd be one thing if the Rangers were in good standing, like where they were last year. But when you go, whatever it was, 4-15 or thereabouts, you put yourself in that hole, then you don't have room for mistakes like this. It's just bad. And again, to end the streak that way, it too is tough. And you have Colorado, and you have Carolina next, and then a bunch of off days. So it's I keep on saying the way for the Rangers to basically get this done, and this is obvious, is you just got to keep on racking points. And what's really key is, and they've been doing better at it lately, is just getting to overtime. That is so, and that the Rangers weren't doing that. In that bad streak, it was regulation loss after regulation loss. It was killing them. In this point system, that will kill you. You need to find a way. Look, I don't love the point system, but it is what it is. And with that, you got to get games to overtime. And they nearly did that and should have. I mean, the power play was a disaster. That brings me to Zibanejad had a fucking terrible turnover right about maybe 30 seconds before that goal goes down. Rangers have puck possession in the zone, and Zibanejad just turns it over. Just terrible. Chris Kreider, he cannot move. Like, he looks as bad as I've ever seen him. Like, he looks hunched over. He looks like shit. I mean, he was never one that really had a whole lot of, how do I say, like, talent. Although, but the things that Chris Kreider is good at, he's unbelievable at. Like, right, like his net front presence, and there are, his deflection skills and things like that, and his speed when he can turn on the jets. Like, there's some things that he's amazing at, obviously. But lately, man, like, it's hard to watch, really is. And so that number one power play unit really let them down. They had two chances and were unsuccessful. The first one was ugly. The second one wasn't great either. And they called the timeout to get them back on there. It's like, you know what? I know that's worked in the past, but you had some guys in the second unit that actually had pretty good games. And I think we're more than deserving to just be on there. You know what? If they were, I think that game's probably going to at least overtime. So it's too much deference to the Artemi Panarins of the world, to the Mika Zibanejads, to the Chris Kreiders. I still continue to go there, and I think it's fair because, look, within this stretch, it's been other pieces that have done well. You get another goal by the fourth line today, Sam Carrick with a goal. They continue to contribute. You've been getting offensive production from the blue line where Will Borgen scores a goal. Riley Smith gets a couple of assists. I think he's been playing well under the radar. But you keep on, going back to the well of the same people, and that's what's going to happen. That is one of their biggest issues. And so when you look at the Avalanche versus the Rangers, that specifically, think about, you had these two games. Rangers only got 1 point out of 4. That's just, you can't have that. I mean, they needed to get at least 2 points out of 4, and really three. Really three. I mean, they gave away. They should have gotten 2 points. Plain and simple. They should have gotten 2 points last game and at least won this game. I'm not going to say 2. Right, like they were trailing all game. It wasn't like that, but they basically threw away at least 2 points in these games, right? Colorado ties it late in Colorado, and then they win it in overtime. And then this one, they win in regulation with 15 seconds left. And it broke a streak where the last 5 games between these teams went past regulation. So that's the thing, too, is that, not that that's a streak that, anyone should be proud of, but it was one, of course, they showed on the screen before the Ranger power play. So you're hoping that it's almost a jinx in the positive way because, the Rangers were more likely to be the one that scored, but of course they don't. A perfect storm of bullshit that basically goes down at the end of the game. And that's as tough a loss as you're going to get. Really, really is. I mean, that is bad. Really, really bad. And you can talk about how the feeling is really bad. Like when you have a lead and you blow it late, yes, that feeling it may even feel worse in some ways, but in terms of what does in the standings, this is worse, right? Because at least in those games, all right, you get the end overtime, you get a point, which is valuable despite the fact you're not feeling great about this. You get none and still feel like shit about it. So really bad. You had the second game as a Colorado Avalanche for Marty Necas and Jack Drury. Colorado was coming off of a game yesterday against the Bruins in which they lost, and I'm not going to make a huge deal about that. It's unfortunate, that it worked out as badly as it could have for the Rangers because the Bruins win, and that's Ranger competition, and then Colorado beats the Rangers the next day. I was hoping for the reverse, and Colorado was better, I would say, in the Bruin game. They were dominating, but they only had 1 goal to show for it. And what sucks too is that Necas was still trying to get his bearings straight, and just the shock of them trading Mikko Rantanen, who the Rangers will see on Tuesday for Carolina. That's the thing, that the Rangers happen to be playing these teams right away. Carolina's coming off of a loss to the Islanders in overtime. I don't love that either. And that ended a winning streak for the Hurricanes. So this, I don't know. I felt like this was a really big game to win, knowing what you have next in Carolina. And I know the Rangers had a lot of success against them, mostly in the playoffs, but the regular season, Rangers are 0-2 against them. They are, obviously a really, really good regular season team. There's no denying that. And the Rangers just could not get it done. One of the more frustrating losses that you'll have here. Cale Makar, another thing that kind of stands out is remember there was a time where, and maybe I'm wrong, right? Where Cale Makar and Adam Fox were kind of in the same league or level. They're not. I mean, Cale Makar is just an absolute game breaker. He really is. I mean, when you have McKinnon and Makar, that alone, I mean, they're tough to handle. And Cale Makar was just amazing in this game. Just easily the player of the game for sure. Almost had a hat trick actually, but they called it back due to a goalie interference penalty. So the Rangers did catch some breaks along the way as well to even get to this position, and they were unable to take advantage of that. And that really, really stings. So Rangers now 24, 21, and 4 now. Um, and so the other thing too, and I don't know if it made a difference, maybe it did, is that Colorado decided to go with their backup yesterday in Scott Wedgwood, but today they went with their starter Mackenzie Blackwood. And Blackwood, I thought, even though he gave 4 goals, I thought he played pretty well. I mean, some of it wasn't perfect, to be fair. I'm thinking, like that third goal where he kind of lets it squeak through and then Borgen tips it, kind of pokes it in. But, I thought it pretty strong from Blackwood. The Rangers had shot Colorado 37-21. So for Igor, while I can't look back and necessarily say, oh, like this was a bad goal. Like the goal, these were high danger chances for the Avalanche, but Igor, was not great in this one. Obviously, when you give up 5 goals on 21 shots, it's hard to defend that. But again, it all goes back to that game-winning goal with 15 seconds left. It's really, really bad all the way around. But let's go back to the top. And the first period had a lot going on. It really did. And at 5:43, and I'll just say this again, same lineup for the Rangers, so no surprise there. Continued, the same scratches and things like that. Same lines, same defensive pairs. And it would be Jack Drury scoring his first goal as a Colorado Avalanche. Again, he was involved in that 3-way deal between the Hurricanes, Avalanche, and Blackhawks. Drury, who seems to have had success against I feel like, and this is natural considering he was on Carolina, so the sample size is high, but you keep an eye on it because, Jack Drury is, I believe, the nephew of Chris Drury. And so, anyway, Drury's 4th goal of the season from Middleton and Drouin at 5:43. And this was one where it was the Heedle line that was on for the Rangers. I think that earlier in that sequence, they may have missed Ross Colton, I think, might have cross-checked Vakanainen in the neutral zone that they didn't call. I think Laviolette was upset about that. Could have went either way. But this is one where there was a chance, for example, for Kreider to maybe just poke it and change the possession, if nothing else. Maybe not get it out, but at least make it more difficult. And he kind of lunges for it and doesn't get it. Again, Kreider, just eye test wise, is not doing it for me at all. It is problematic. I really think it's to the point where Kreider, again, him not being in the lineup, it could be addition by subtraction, or at least in the way that it's used. Like he probably plays more than he should. Let's put it that way. And so what happens is it's a shot from the point by Middleton, and it's tipped in by Jack Drury up top. It's one of those high deflections where Kaliev was right on Drury. Drury gets a stick on it, and nothing that Igor could really do about it, and it makes it 1-0 Colorado. But then the problem is they make it worse by less than a minute after. At 6:26, Cale Makar scores his 17th goal of the season from Natchez and McKinnon. So, and it was the first of 2 goals for Makar. Again, just 18 goals in the year. He, for a defenseman at this stage in the season, like a little more than halfway through, is insane. But yeah, it's a situation here where it ends up Colorado comes in with some speed at the blue line. And the thing is, like, once they can get some chemistry, Natchez with McKinnon can be dangerous. Obviously, Rantanen, that's that duo, McKinnon and Rantanen, but Natchez, Colorado's already got some good speed, so he just adds to that. But yeah, really, how would I describe this play? Keandre Miller falls down, I think, at the blue line. McKinnon makes a nice play to get it over to Natchez, back pass to Makar, and off the post and in past Shesterkin. Pretty simple. Not too much blame to go around, but, makes it 2-0 Colorado there. I guess the biggest blame is the fact that it set the tone for the game and them getting that 2-goal lead. But after that, the Rangers had very good responses. And here it is, less than a minute after, the Rangers make it 2-1. And it's the fourth line scoring. At 7:10, Sam Carrick scores his 5th goal of the season from Rempe and Vakanainen. Nice play by Rempe, where he kind of just wraps it around. You have Edstrom creating, some havoc in front. And Carrick is there to just bury it in past Blackwood. And it makes it 2-1 again. Sam Carrick continues to just be a very, very vital piece to this bottom six, fourth line specifically, as well as the penalty kill. Just really pleased with his play. And Matt Rempe, that was a good play by him too. So, you're not going to change anything as far as taking him out of the lineup at this point, and that makes it 2-1. And then only a minute and 26 seconds after that, Rangers tied up. And it's Vincent Trocheck with his 15th goal of the season, assisted by Lafreniere and Panarin. And this is a player, Panarin is able to just bank it off the boards and set up a 2-on-1 between Lafreniere and Trocheck. And a really nice setup by Lafreniere to Vincent Trocheck to tie this up at 2. I think Lafreniere has been playing better lately. As much as Panarin, I don't love his game. I think Lafreniere actually has had a lot of good jump. And, it seems as if he's slowly but surely, I think he would even admit that, not the first half that maybe he was hoping for, had a tough, probably 20-game stretch, but seems to really be picking it up lately. And a nice goal by Vincent Trocheck, who gets taken down by Miles Wood at the end of that play, but ties it up at 2. But then, and special teams was a difference. Colorado got the better of the special teams. Adam Fox holds Parker Kelly at 14-13, and the Avalanche take advantage of it. And here was not a great play by Braden Schneider. There was an opportunity for Schneider to maybe get it out of the zone or at least, keep the puck. He kind of just wheels it around and gives it right to Colorado. I don't know what Schneider was really thinking there. Not a great play by him. And Rangers were very aggressive on the penalty kill here. And Makar ends up wide open, and he ends up scoring past Shesterkin. I think it was Lehkonen who had a screen in front. It's Makar's 18th goal of the season, second goal of the period from McKinnon and Natchez at 14:36. So 3-2 Colorado. Rangers had a chance at the tie. It was a very, very eventful first period in this matinee game at Madison Square Garden. So it's 3-2 Avs going to the second. And in the second, things kind of slowed down a bit offensively, I would say, but the Rangers got better and better as this game went on. I think the Rangers' first period was their worst, and they outshot Colorado 13-6 in the second and 14-3 in the third. Now, granted, a lot of this is because they're in trail mode, so that's natural. It's a little bit natural, but still, Rangers, I guess I don't know. I guess you could say they were the better team than Colorado. That's probably fair. Again, I think the shot count's probably a little misleading. But I thought the Rangers, certainly it was a good game for them overall. But there were lapses and a huge one. First off, Edstrom interferes with Natchez at 8:28 in the second period. Rangers found a way to kill it off. I don't know how they did. It was in the Rangers zone the whole time. I think there was a couple of posts that were hit by Colorado, but nothing goes in. But then at 16:01, it's Parssinen scoring his fourth goal of the season from Middlestad. So with 4 minutes left, it's 4-2. That was huge at the time. Panarin should have gotten off the ice a while ago. I don't know why he was still out there. And if you're going to be out there, you can't fuck around. And he just flails at the puck, fans on it. I mean, I don't know. It was a pass, I guess. Basically to Colorado, handed it to them on a silver platter. Middlestead passes it to the center of the ice, and Parssinen just rips it home. One-time shot, and it's in. Makes it 4-2 Avalanche. Inexcusable by Artturi Panarin. And then Rangers with another response. A little more than 2 minutes after, Will Borgen scores his third goal of the season. I believe his first Madison Square Garden goal. A day after getting that 5-year contract extension, assisted by Riley Smith and Will Cooley. So what happens here is a nice play by Will Cooley behind the net. Passes it to Riley Smith in front, who takes a shot, and Blackwood is unable to fully corral it, and Borgen beats the Avalanche player to the puck with a poke check that goes in. So that's a big goal to make it 4-3 going to the third. It really was. It gave the Rangers a lot of hope. And so we go to the third period. The Rangers were definitely controlling play. And at 1:40, Casey Middlestad cross-checks Adam Fox. And this power play was ugly and brutal, just terrible, specifically by that first power play unit. It's making me want them to switch it up. And I don't know that they will, but Kreider and/or Zibanejad needs to be off that power play. And I think Lafreniere makes the most sense, but I'm open to other ideas as well. I am. But, we've at least seen him be on there before. So take your choice, whether it be Kreider or Zibanejad. Both would be great, but just one of them will suffice. So the Rangers don't score on that power play, and the score remains 4-3. But eventually the Rangers are able to cash in, and it is Panarin. And players like that, and it's happened before where I'll be frustrated with him, but, superstar players, they'll end up making their mark, and he does score a huge game-tying goal, his 21st goal of the season from Trocheck and Smith. And this was a play where it's a nice pass from Smith. Trocheck takes the shot, and the rebound goes in the direction of Panarin. And he just is able to beat, I think it was Drouin. And he just gets a stick on it, and it flutters in. Ties it before. And at that point, it's like, great. Decent chance the Rangers are going to get this to overtime with 5 minutes left. And what even increased those odds is that Cale Makar holds the stick of Alexi Lafreniere at 17:36. So you're thinking, okay, worst case scenario is you're going to overtime. Best case scenario, you are scoring a power play goal and winning this game in regulation. And the Rangers, this power play was better than the first one, which is not saying anything because the first one sucked. But this one, there were some chances. The Rangers called that there was a stoppage with about a minute left in regulation. And so therefore about 40 seconds or so left in the power play. And they called timeout to give the first unit a rest. That has worked before. I'm not going to kill it, but it's again, like they didn't really deserve to get more of a chance. That's where get that second unit on the ice. So they keep him on there. And like I said, Zibanejad was just a fucking, I don't know. He kills the possession. And so now the Rangers are in basically a mode of having to get the puck back in, which they eventually do. Zibanejad and Fox go off the ice. It is Keandre Miller that has the puck with some room. And what would have been smarter to just kind of keep it towards the Colorado net, go behind the net. He passes it to the point to Will Borgen, and Borgen does the worst thing you could possibly do. He passes it to the middle of the ice where Panarin was. Panarin was ready to shoot the puck, and it's intercepted by Cale Makar, who's out of the box. He goes with speed, and the only one back is Borgen. And Makar's pass goes across from left to right to Artturi Lehkonen, who buries his 20th goal of the season from Cale Makar in 1945 to give the Avalanche a 5-4 lead and the win. Again, in a year where there's been tough losses, right now, this one feels like the worst, and probably is. The fact they got no points out of it. The Rangers have not done well this year when trailing going into the third. That's been getting a little bit better lately. And here may have been one of the greatest examples because I'm thinking about this year. The Rangers have not had many games this year where they've tied it up late and won the game or gotten points even. That has not happened really much at all. Like the Utah game where they won when they were trailing at the end of the two, they tied it up very late in the third period, like maybe 2 minutes in, might have been less than that. So this would have been nice, and this would have had a feel to maybe last season, but it doesn't work out. And so now, if you look at the standings, things don't look as good. The scoreboard did not do the Rangers any favors last night. Like pretty much all their competition won. Rangers have to. They're not going to get help from the other teams. They got to do it themselves. And so this was a crushing loss, inexcusable goal all the way around. And now they will have one more game on this homestand against the Carolina Hurricanes, who are coming off of an overtime loss to the New York Islanders. And, this is going to be a very interesting one. We know that the Rangers Hurricanes, look, that's become a rivalry basically at this point. Hurricanes just got Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall. It'll be their second game in a Hurricane uniform. It's at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be tough. It is. And then after that, you have a stretch of games that includes a couple versus the Boston Bruins, one versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. If you had at least won this game, to me, Carolina game, it wouldn't have been house money. I mean, you're not in a situation where you have that luxury, but it would have at least been, all right, you know what, hey, if the point streak ends there, it ends there. But to end it like this is brutal. So again, a tough loss to the Rangers. They go down late to the Colorado Avalanche, losing by a score of 5-4, and they will hope that they can turn this around quickly against the Carolina Hurricanes.